Hey there, Genesis International College students, and welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving deep into Topic 2, preparing schedules for project expenditure. Honestly, you can think of this as your financial blueprint. Just like you would never pour a massive concrete foundation without an architectural plan, you literally cannot manage a complex construction project with a rigorous, well-planned expenditure schedule. It's the absolute lifeline that keeps your projects afloat, profitable, and right on track.
So, here is our roadmap for the study guide today. We'll be looking at 1. The Project Expenditure Foundation, 2. Preparing construction schedules, 3. Securing approvals and distribution, and finally, 4. Matching cash flow to expenditure. Let's jump right in.
Just a quick heads up, this explainer serves as your official guide for the unit CPCCBC5002, which is all about monitoring costing systems on complex building and construction projects. Mastering these concepts is exactly what's going to empower you to step up into the crucial role of a future builder or senior manager. It gives you the tools to investigate, evaluate, and report on project costing with absolute confidence.
All right, Section 1, the Project Expenditure Foundation. Building the baseline.
Okay, we need to clear up a massive misconception right off the bat. People out there often use the words cost and expenditure like they mean the exact same thing, but on a live construction site, confusing the two is actually super dangerous. Cost is simply the money used by a business when creating products or services. It's the amount you accumulate. Expenditure, on the other hand, well, that's the actual payment made over a specific period of time. We're talking about the actual checks you write and the hard funds physically leaving your account.
You know what they say, time is money. And to understand exactly when your expenditures are going to happen, you have to identify your project's critical points. We plot these on what's known as the critical path. Simply put, this is the longest sequence of tasks that need to be done to complete your project. Figuring out this path helps you determine precisely when specific activities, and of course their associated expenses, will actually hit your bank account.
Moving right along to Section 2, preparing construction schedules, drafting the blueprint.
So, scheduling isn't just throwing some dates on a calendar. It is the real, hands-on process of planning how resources are committed to tasks over your project's timeline. It's about coordinating the exact delivery time for materials, efficiently allocating your labor hours, and anticipating your financing needs for every single period. Plus, managing your payment claims requires that you actually determine the progress of the project, which is very often based on the costs incurred up to that date.
So, how do we actually pull this off? Well, it boils down to 3 core steps to prepare a solid construction schedule. Step 1, prepare and set up your template. Step 2, gather all your necessary information. And Step 3, allocate the expenses and plug in the data. Think of this process exactly like laying out a physical building blueprint, except this time it's for your finances.
Let's zoom in on Step 1. The absolute crucial point here is setting up that initial framework. You have to decide how you're going to allocate expenses by labeling your column headings. Are we talking daily, weekly, monthly, maybe even annually? This entirely depends on the scope of your project, right? A massive commercial high-rise is going to look very, very different from a small residential roof repair that wraps up in a week.
With your template locked and loaded, Step 2 is information gathering. And guys, you absolutely cannot guess these numbers. No way. You have to extract the hard data by reviewing your project budget, which hands you the costs of materials, labor, and quantities, and then you cross-reference that with the schedule of progress payments right out of your contract. That's the secret sauce that tells you how much cash you can actually claim once you finish those tasks.
And that brings us to Step 3, allocating the expenses. Unlike general costs, expenses in this context happen over a very specific window of time. So, to nail down exactly when they're going to hit, you have to provide estimates for the start and completion dates of each individual task. How do you do that accurately? Well, you have to dig into your inner knowledge of how each task works, look back at historical data from past projects, and, honestly, most importantly, rigorously consult with your team and your subcontractors to get their expert take on the timeline.
Which takes us to Section 3, securing approvals and distribution, making it official.
Look, once your schedule is totally prepped, a major compliance requirement is producing hard copies that line up with your specific organizational processes. I know, dealing with paperwork and jam printers probably isn't why you got into construction, but it's a standard necessity. You have to officially and clearly communicate these really complex schedules with your clients, your teammates, and your stakeholders.
Because here's the reality. Generating the schedule is truly just the starting line.
Securing collaborative approval is non-negotiable. You must consult your stakeholders and confirm their approval of the schedules based entirely on your firm's strict policies and procedures. Absolutely no financial action should be taken until you have that official sign-off secured.
So, this brings up a huge make-or-break question for any future builder or senior manager. You've mapped out the critical path, you've consulted your experts, and you know exactly when those expenses are going to hit. But is the cash actually sitting there in the bank account to pay those bills when they finally arrive?
And that is exactly what we're tackling in Section 4, matching cash flow to expenditure, managing the flow.
To keep your project from going under, you have to master the two sides of cash flow. It's a balancing act. Cash inflow pertains to all the cash received by the business for the current period. This is the sweet stuff, the money coming in from your project claims. Cash outflow, on the flip side, is all the cash paid out by the business in the current period, aka the expenditures you just spent all that time scheduling. Your ultimate goal here is to perfectly match your expected inflows to those expected outflows so your project never runs dry.
Now, a massive piece of controlling that cash outflow is being incredibly strict about reviewing the invoices sent by contractors and suppliers before you pay a single dime. You need rock-solid proof that supplies were received and services were actually rendered. So you check the receiving reports for the quality and the quantity of the materials. And for your subcontractors, you literally walk out and physically check the site. You verify that the services they say they rendered actually match the exact contract terms before you authorize any cash outflow.
As you're grinding through this whole process, I really want you to keep this quote from your learner guide in the back of your mind. Organizations must constantly strive to improve performance and efficiency through systems revisions. By truly mastering these costing and monitoring systems, you're doing so much more than just pushing paperwork. You are becoming an essential asset, someone capable of driving real innovation, continuous planning, and major growth for your future firm.
I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought to chew on today. When a construction project ultimately fails, was it the physical structure that collapsed, or was it the financial blueprint? The responsibility of a builder goes way, way beyond just bricks and mortar. It rests incredibly heavily on the expenditure schedules that you prepare. So master these concepts in Topic 2, go ace those assessments, and you'll be building your career on a foundation that will absolutely never crack. Best of luck with your studies at Genesis International College, and I'll catch you next time.